My name's Chris Downing, Application Engineer for Man and Machine UK. And this video, I'm going to give you a quick demonstration of some of the benefits of Vault, Autodesk Vault, of course. So I'm currently in Autodesk Vault Professional 2022. The majority of these or this functionality will be available in Workgroup as well. So I won't delve into too much of the specific stuff that involves just Professional. I will cover mainly things that are in both Workgroup and Professional. Okay, so what is Autodesk Vault? So predominantly it's a file storage system. Okay, so that file storage system comes with a very intelligent and useful browser. Okay, so here we have the browser in front of me. Okay, so that file storage system sits on a server. It could be a cloud server, it could be a physical server, it could be a VM. And that server has a file store and a database, and that's really how it works. So you have this server sits there and a database that sits alongside it. The database stores all the data for the files, and the file store, of course, stores the files. And what you do with Autodesk Vault is you dish out a client to each of your CAD users and Office users, and those clients can, or that client application allows you to view the Vault, okay, as we have here. So this is the Vault client I have in front of me. And it works just like a Windows browser in the fact that you have this tree down the left, and you have all the subfolders as branches within that tree. And when you click on a folder, you get to see the contents within. Okay, but in addition to what you would normally get in Windows, you also get this viewer. Okay, so if I go to the seed folder, for example, look at my seed part. That's a nice simple part. We can view the part from within the application itself. Okay, we can even take measurements as well. Okay, so we can have a look at the files and take measurements of the files and print the files from here. So it's a powerful viewer. Okay, it also has the ability to monitor the relationships between parts, assemblies, and drawings. So we can see this is the Where Used tab. So we can see the part, the assembly that uses that part, so where it's used, and the drawing that uses the assembly. Okay, so it allows you to view the relationships between files. We can see that this file, this part, uses nothing. Okay, so this is the bottom end of the food chain, let's say, and the drawing is the top end. If I want to go directly to the drawing, I can right click and select go to folder, and it takes me straight to the folder, straight to the drawing. Here we see that the drawing is not used anywhere else, so it's the top of the food chain. And then we have what it uses. Okay, so then we can see that it uses this PDF. Also uses this assembly. This assembly uses these parts. And here's the original seed part that I had a minute ago. Okay, so it's a powerful browser which allows you to look at all the parts and their relationships and with their assemblies and drawings. Okay, and navigate using those relationships between the linked files. Okay, so as well as that, you can see the history of a file. So the history is every time there's an edit to the file, which is saved and checked into the Vault. So you would create a file. You would then open the file and edit the file. You can see this one's had an extra M20 hole added to it by the engineer 1. You would then check it back in, and then it's put to review and then released. The job processor, which is another thing I'll come to a bit later, processes which actually synchronizes the properties and prints a PDF. So yeah, I mean, I mentioned it now. The job processor basically is a tool that sits on the server that performs certain tasks for you. Okay, so it will create PDFs, it will synchronize properties, it will update your revision table, things like that. And I'll show that in action a bit later on. Okay, when you want to step that back to work in progress, you can see that Vault will revise the file for you. Okay, so as well as keeping the full history of every edit to the file, at certain stages in a file's life cycle, which you can see we have a life cycle here, which is programmed into the Vault. And at certain stages in the life cycle, for example, in this case, when it goes from release back to WIP, it will revise the drawing and update that revision letter or number, whatever it is you choose. So that takes me nicely into the fact that in Autodesk Vault, you can actually implement a process to your files. And in fact, you can have as many processes as you like. Okay, so Autodesk Vault helps you guide a file through a specific process so that it goes through the correct approval steps. Okay, so the process is applied to a file typically by the category. Okay, it can be applied manually as well, but typically we categorize files by their properties. So we can see here this is an engineering file and the PDF is a design representation file. So they're categorized via their properties, and using those properties you can apply automatically a life cycle, a process, or you could apply a process or a life cycle manually. So those are the two options you have for applying a process to a file. And we can see here as well, I just toggle this little switch on and off here, which basically allows you to see just the released files, or you can see every single save edit there as well. So yeah, it enables you to view the files, browse quickly and efficiently, see the relationships between files, categorize the files, and apply a process to each category automatically. Okay, and we know that we categorize files, well, the main way to categorize files, again, it can be done manually, but we can program Autodesk Vault so that it categorizes your files according to its properties. And that's where the database comes in. Okay, so we have a database, an SQL database that sits alongside the server, and all the files properties are recorded and synchronized with the Vault, and Vault will add additional properties to it. Okay, so those additional properties, things like revision, things like the latest approver, the person who last approved the file, of course, things like when it was last checked in and out of the Vault. Okay, so those are additional properties that the Vault adds to the files. And you can actually create as many custom properties as you like and synchronize those to custom properties in your files, in your Inventor or AutoCAD properties. Okay, so it also records all the properties. Okay, so that's an additional benefit. And adding to that, you can use those properties to find files quickly and easily. Okay, so for example, I've got a part here, the material, if we look down at material, is gold. Okay, so the designer is Chris Downing, or C Downing, myself of course. The name is seed part. So these are all properties, and actually Vault can quickly and easily find files with those properties. Okay, so for example, if I type in gold like so, it returns everything that has gold in its properties, which happens to be just this one file. Okay, because I use the two wildcards, it doesn't matter what comes before or after. If I now go for another one, let's try in the top here, C Downing. Yeah, put a wildcard either side, why not? Just to be sure, it returns all the files that have a property that contains the word C Downing in it. Okay, so that's one way of searching, and you can see that it's pretty quick. Yes, okay, it's a small vault. I've got a little sandbox vault here. It is small, so it is quick, but it's an SQL database. If you know anything about SQL databases, you'll know they're very fast. Okay, so added to that, we can actually create specific criteria to filter down files. So if I just look at my brewing main folder here, and I look through here and I see that I've got some files with the word pump in, for example, because I've got a couple there, so that's quite a useful one to use. Okay, so what I've got at the top here is the ability to find files using multiple criteria to filter by. So, for example, I'm going to use file name contains, and I'll just put wildcard, PUMP, wildcard, add. And if I click find now, we get 3 files, in fact. Okay, and actually I could save this away and perform the search at the click of a button. So what I would do now is click save and call it pump search, for example. Okay, close that away. Here we have on the left hand side now in my search folders a button which I can click, which returns the results, as I say, at the click of a button. Okay, so a very useful tool in itself to be able to find files by any property whatsoever at the click of a button. Now, added to that, we can add additional criteria. So we could say, we could actually open this one and edit this one. So right click, edit, save search. And this time I'll say, not only does it have to have the word pump in it, but the file extension also has to be an IPT. Okay, so add that. And then we'll just do a file save as, not to override my existing one. And I'll just call it pump parts and click OK. All right, so now I've got a new search. And if I click find now, you can see we only get 2 IPTs. Okay, so if I actually come to this one now and replace this with IAM and do a file save as, and this is going to be, yep, you guessed it, pump assemblies, like so. Click OK, click find now, we should only get the 1 assembly. Okay, and at the click of a button now, over here we've got the pumps, pump parts, and pump assemblies, just like that. Okay, so you can actually filter by as many properties as you like, using different criteria, different values. One that I like to use, for example, if I just go to my seed folder here and in fact, let's just go to this one here and I'll just check these files out. So they're now checked out to me. You get these nice icons, by the way, as well, that tell you the status of the file. So this one's checked in, revision A. This one's checked out. Yep, and it's not edited because it's a grey, bluey grey tick rather than a green one. You'll see it's green, goes green when we edit it. Anyway, digressing a little bit. Yeah, so we've got those files checked out. A nice search that I like to do. We go new group on there. Right click. Sorry, not new group. New search up the top here, and I will go with checked out by is not empty. So this is going to tell me all the files that currently are checked out by anyone. Of course, I could specify a particular user. Yeah, we can see what files Bob's got checked out and what file Jill has got checked out. But in this case, we just want it to be not empty, therefore it's checked out in general. Okay, save that away, and of course it's going to be called checked out files. This is a very useful tool for managers as well as your everyday users, because then your managers can come along and see who has what files checked out at the click of a button. You know, and you've got 5 or 6 different engineers in your team or designers in your team. You could actually filter that down and see, you know, like I say, what files has Bob got checked out, what files has Jill got checked out, etc. So another really useful thing to be able to do in Vault, search by properties and see who's working on what very quickly. Okay, so let's just delve into how Vault itself works. Okay, so if I was to go now and open up this part, you can see that it opens up Inventor for me directly from the Vault client. When you install Vault onto a client machine, you get a Vault tab added to all Autodesk softwares, as well as Microsoft Office softwares. So you can check, you know, your Word documents and your Excel documents directly into Vault as well, and categorize and apply a process to them if you choose. And you can see that when you open it in Inventor and you've got Vault installed, and you're logged into Vault, you actually get a Vault tab here as well, telling you the status of the file within the Vault. So this little tick here means it's checked out to me. And then you just work in Inventor as you would normally. So you come into here, you might change, again, I'll just use gold there, change the material and click save. Okay, if I go to the Vault tab now, what you'll see is we get a nice green icon telling us that I've changed the file. I can right click and then check that file into the Vault. Added gold material. Okay, so basically, as far as your everyday inventor, designers, engineers go, it's, you know, it's just going to be business as usual, except for they need to find the file from Vault instead of Windows and then check the file out to edit it. When that file is checked out, that file is locked to that user. So other users can't edit the file. So let me just log out and then log in quickly as an engineer. Okay, so I don't like to do too many log outs and logs in a demo situation, but sometimes it's kind of necessary to do that just to show the functionality. So if I just now check this out, because it's been checked in by the super user in the first place, I can then check it out. We'll just change size maybe. Okay, yeah, so it might need to update some properties, and there we go. And all I'm going to do now is I'm just a bit cautious because it's part of an assembly, of course, and I don't want to break it too much. So we'll just we'll come in here and edit the extrusion very slightly. In fact, we can't because we can move that one. In fact, yeah, move that face. There we go, like so. That will do. Hopefully that won't break anything too much. Save the file. And before I check it back in, I'm just going to have a look at my Vault tab and look at the checked out files. And you see there, because I'm logged in here as a super user and I'm logged in Inventor as the engineer one, we can see that engineer one has that file. It's locked to that user. So that's another benefit over using just a standard Windows sort of operating system. What we're doing here is actually taking the file, and if I go to my working folder, we're taking a copy of the file. Let's bring that across over here, and we're placing it on my local disk. Okay, so what you can do is actually you can take all the files you need, check them out, or just download them. If you don't need to edit them, you can get them as a local copy, and work on them. And if you've checked them out, they're locked to you, and you don't even have to stay connected to the server where the Vault sits. You could disconnect your laptop, get on a plane, work away happily, land somewhere in the world, wherever you want, as long as you can reconnect and VPN or whatever it is, if it's a cloud server, log back onto it, and you could then check the file back in. Okay, so in this day and age, you can see there's a lot of use for that to be able to work completely offline. A lot of people are using kind of cloud file storage systems, but that can be tricky because unless you've got a way of locking the file so no one else can edit it, somebody else could edit the file and then you could then come back online and overwrite their changes. So, it's preventing that kind of cycle happening where somebody overwrites your files or you overwrite somebody else's files, because it locks the files to you only whilst you're working on them. Okay, so we can see that there, and actually we can see if we look at show all versions, there's the history there of that file. Okay, so the change size one, we've got the added gold material, just the thumbnail needs a bit updating there, but we've got the change size there happening as we speak. So the engineer then needs to come in and say, right, I'm finished, I'm going to check it in, and there we go, he checks the file into the Vault. We come to Vault now and just hit the refresh there. The file is now not checked out to anyone, so it's not in this search anymore, right? So what we could do is go to my folder here, and there's my file, and it's now available for me to check out if I want to make an edit to it. Okay, so just useful functionality there in itself, protecting the file whilst it's checked out to you, letting you be the only person to work on it. All the other users will still have that older version to reference, to use, to download, whilst you're working on that checked out version. And as soon as you check it back into the Vault, everyone gets that update straight away in their Vault, as you can see here. Okay, so that's kind of the functionality around how it works in relationship to Inventor or any other product. So it works in a similar way for AutoCAD and Vault. Microsoft Office. So let's just have a little run through the process, shall we? So let's just, I'm going to pick a little bit of an easier one to work with here, something that's got less involved in it, just to step it through a process. So what you've got here is the DWG, and actually if I open the file, just make sure I will go to here and we'll log out from Mr. Engineer, Soap User, and log in as Mr. Engineer. like so. Okay, so I'll go to my designs folder and I'll go to my seed folder here, and I'm going to just refresh the file. You can see here, so these icons basically mean the local files are out of date. So you get these nice icons here to remind you that your local files are out of date and they need updating. And actually you can just do what we call a get file. The get file allows you to download the file without actually checking it out. You can see that when I do a get file, we get these nice padlock symbols. Okay, so it's a released file. Therefore, it can't be edited. Okay, so the engineer can't edit this file. Now, previously I was logged in as a super user who can edit a file at any stage. I want to step this back into WIP, so I'll right click on the file, change the state. We can pick a life cycle. We get the choice of two because some of these are content files and some of these are standard files. Okay, so you'll see then when I set this, I can go from released. The only place I can go to released as an engineer is work in progress, and you'll see that these files here, they're content files. They do not change, they stay as released. Okay, so we're going to add another hole like so and click OK. Okay, so the file is now in work in progress. Okay, so I can make a change to the file. Okay, so I may jump into the assembly. I might check out the assembly. In fact, if I was going to change the file, I'd probably check them all out. Check out, please. Thank you. I will jump into the part, click open, edit the extrusion, 150. There's my change. Cool, that's a bit big, isn't it? 150 millimeters, please. Thank you. There we go. All right, save the file. Okay, we'll see now that that's changed. We can check that in if we like. Added 50 mil. So that's updated it in Vault now. Okay, we can then come and have, let's close this down. Well, actually, let's do it from here. You can see that we can actually open the file directly from Inventor. We don't have to go into the Vault client, so you can use the add-in that comes with Inventor. So I can find now, here we have my drawing and my assembly, so we can open both of those and check them out. Add 50 millimeters. Update the properties, yes to all. Yes, so it's update the assembly, so it's update the assemblies, update the drawing. Just shift that over there a little bit. And there's my assembly. And then let's have a look at the Vault tab. We can see the change is made. When I hit the save button, it goes green. Yeah, same here on the drawing. Hit the save button. You can see that the assembly has already got the green icon. Hit the save button on the drawing. That goes green as well. And in fact, we could check it in from here because both files are checked out. It can see that already. And I'll check in. I'll just put added 50 mil. Check in. Okay. Update the drawing. Update the part. Jobs are good. And you can see that the revision table is updating automatically there for me. Okay. I will close and close. Keep things nice and neat. Hit the refresh button on here. Mr. Engineer has made his change. He is happy with his drawing and his parts. He's going to change the state to review. Like so. Under review, added 50 millimeters. Click OK. Steps all the files up to review. And we can see all the while every save and edit is going on in the background. Okay. Now, this is where we're going to change state. I'm the engineer, aren't I? Can the engineer release the file? No, he can't. Okay, so we'll have a quick log out, log in. Trying to keep this to a minimum as much as I can. Reviewer. Mr. Reviewer comes along. Goes to the seed folder. Finds his file that is up for review. And actually, what could he do? He could have a search tool in here. State contains review, like so. Add, find now, There we go. Save for review. Okay, close. Find all the files for review. There they all are. That's the top file because I can see that it uses all these sub files. Okay, all these child files, you could say. And I'm going to go change state again and then release the file. Okay, once the file is released, it's then locked. So we look at the seed folder and get the latest copy. Get the latest copy. They are all locked. And in time, we will see the PDF update with the latest version. There we go. The PDF has updated, revision C. Okay. So that's kind of a good example of a life cycle process, workflow, whatever you want to call it, for a inventor drawing assembly and part within Vault. Okay, some additional sort of nice functionality that you can get inside Vault is the ability to do a copy design. So if I select this top drawing here and select copy design, it allows us to copy the design, of course, and decide what we want to do with that design. So where it says action and it leaves it blank, that means it's going to be reusing that component. Okay, so what we can do is we can select, we want to reuse all the content parts, but the other parts we're going to create copies of. So we select copy to, and I'll go to my designs demo folder and copy them to there. Okay, so we have some options. We can copy, copy to, replace, reuse, which is the default option, and exclude as well in some cases. Okay, so you could exclude certain parts of the design if it's possible. Then over here we have the ability to add prefixes or suffixes, and I can just make some tweaks on here. Put space 1, copy that, paste it into there and there. So you're basically putting space 1 on the end of the file name. As you can see, there's the resulting file names. And then you just click execute copy. So it copies the file and maintains the relationships with the files, and you can choose what you do as you copy, whether you reuse, copy, exclude, or replace those files. So let's just have a quick look at my demo folder. There are my new files, and they are, of course, work in progress. Other nice things that I can do inside the Vault is move files around within the Vault. So I could create a new folder, call it drawings, for example. Click OK, and then take my demo folder and take my drawing from out of there and place it in the drawings folder. And what it does, it moves the file but maintains the relationships. Okay, so we can still see the relationship between that file, that drawing, and the assembly and sub child parts. So the same, I'll go to the seed folder potentially. It might not let me do this actually because it's released, but we'll give it a go. Yeah, no, it's a released file, so it won't let me do that, of course, because that would be essentially changing the properties. So if I wanted to do that, I'd have to put it back to whip. Okay. Another useful thing to be able to do within the Vault, if I grab this assembly here, I believe, yeah, that will do. I can make shared views. So some of you may be familiar with shared views in AutoCAD and Inventor, but you can also do it from Vault as well. You can see over the right hand side here, I've got shared views. I've got a bunch already there. And to create something like this, I can right click on the file I want to share the view of and select share view. Give it a name and decide what to do with it, whether to hide component names or not. From here, it will process the view. And then I can view it in the browser and copy the link from here. If I click view in browser, it will open up a browser. And there you go. You can see the tank here. And actually, you could copy that link and send it to anyone you like. And you can see on the left, you've got the viewer here, which allows us to jump to each of the components and have a look at them. Yeah, we can take measurements from here as well. So we go back to the main assembly. We could take a measurement from here to here, for example. We could explode from here, which is quite nice. We can do section views. So we could say, take a section there, or we could take a section there. Yeah. And move that section about, like so. We can do markups. So take a snapshot and put an arrow on and put some text on and do a cloud. Yep. And save that markup. So on the right now we have this markup, which we can go back and actually there's a link directly to the markup. You can paste it in a new browser and have a look at the markup from there. And close the markup if we choose, or print the markup, or again share it from here. So yeah, we can do share views directly from Vault as well. So yeah, that's the some of the main benefits within Vault. There's of course a lot more. We've seen that you can do the automatic revision tables and the automatic PDF creation. We've seen how it is a powerful browser, and we've seen how you can use it to search for files. We've seen how you can use it to categorize files and apply life cycles to those categories. We've seen how you can do a copy design and how you can do shared views. Of course, if you've got any questions at all, please feel free to contact Man & Machine. Thank you very much for watching. Please smash a like on the video and share it wherever you like. Thanks very much. Bye.